First thing we got to do, we got to look at Apple Music's top 100 albums of all time and see how they did, see what's on here, see what's not on here
Yeah.
specifically. Because that online has kind of been the topic of debate is more what's not on the list. Because, like, there's
Yeah.
100 albums. It's a lot of
Yeah.
albums. I get that you can't please everyone.
It's a
Like,
lot of albums, but there's also a lot of great albums. There's more than 100 albums that can be
yeah.
argued for to be put on this list. So
And then we'll also have to give our opinion on what the number one is, what we would have made it, because I'm sure you have an idea of what you would have put at number one. I think I know probably what I would have put at number one. And
yeah,
like, what another thing I thought was interesting about it is like, there's artists on here twice, like kind of the ones you would expect, like the Beatles and Radiohead, etc.
I
Like the
think there's only
big
a
people.
couple.
I think Stevie Wonder's on here twice.
I know Radiohead.
Yeah, Radiohead, the Beatles for sure, because Revolver and Abbey Road are on here. But all right,
Yeah, but I think it was like the first 50 or something. There was only one album per person, so everybody's like, okay, there's gonna be like no doubles, and then they came out with. I think Radiohead was the first one that had for two albums to make it on the list.
probably.
But yeah, let's go over some of these hip hop albums.
This is I'm on the Apple Music website. This is kind of the setup that they have for it. It's kind of cool. You can see a preview of some of the albums coming
Interesting,
up.
yeah.
This one right here, maybe a little controversial of a placement, as we'll see as we go. But and I think if we just scroll, it kind of is set up nice where they just like show all the albums on the screen. So number 100, Robin, Body Talk. That's like a super influential album I've heard. I'm not really familiar with it, but I
I'm
know
not
people are
familiar
mad
either.
about this one. So, but we're gonna kind of stick mainly to the hip hop. Obviously, Hotel California
Okay,
classic
fair enough.
album.
Yep,
Everyone knows that.
yep.
So the first one that was interesting is number 98, Astro
First hip
World,
hop.
Travis
First,
Scott.
yeah, we got the first hip hop entry right here at 98. Like you
Yeah.
said, Travis Scott's Astro World. Go ahead. What do you think?
So Astro World is interesting because I feel like a lot of people don't think this is Travis's best album. A lot of people would say Rodeo it was more like envelope pushing, more new. It tried new
Yeah,
things. It was his first project. It has so many good songs on it. I
yeah,
love Astro World though, but I'm
yeah. I think
surprised it's here.
well, yeah, that might be true about Rodeo is more envelope pushing, like you said. Like it's more what's the word? Innovative, right? Like
Yeah,
trying new things. But I think Astro World was more impactful. You know what I'm saying? More uh,
more critically
influential.
acclaimed too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, more critically acclaimed. Just overall might be the better album. So I'm not mad at this.
It also started maybe it didn't start, but it really like pushed forward this trend of beat switching. Like ever
Yeah,
since Sicko Mode, beat switching has been huge the last few years.
yeah,
Like
definitely,
people are
definitely.
trying to recreate Sicko Mode since Sicko Mode came out. And you've seen it all over rap music.
Yeah, and that's not the only thing that this album has influenced. You know what I'm saying? Just the sound. The
Yeah.
sound alone, has infiltrated the fucking mainstream airwaves. So I'm not
And
mad at that one.
overall I would agree though that this is Travis's most fully thought out, put together like album. Like it's a listening experience. Like this
Yeah,
is a good
definitely.
album.
I mean, that's the album that made Travis a superstar, really.
Yeah.
So you can't be
It's a
mad
great
at it.
album. It's
Of
good.
course, of course.
I do like it a lot. I'm not mad at the pick. I was surprised it was there though, honestly.
Yeah, you kind of
All
get
right.
a sense though.
97, Rage Against the Machine,
Shout out.
self-titled,
Yep.
Pure Heroin by Lord, Usher,
Hey,
Confessions,
let's
shout
go.
out to the GOAT.
Yep, maybe the best R&B album of all time for me. Like my personal favorite. I
It's
mean,
probably my personal
well,
favorite.
I don't know. There's a few up there for me, but like shout out. I mean, iconic album for sure.
Top 5 R&B album for me. It's
Yeah,
up there.
it's
There's so
iconic.
many hits on there. Uh
I'm
Burial,
unfamiliar.
Untrue, not familiar. There is stuff, I mean like yeah, we're hip hop focused, so there's going
Solange.
to be Solange. This is like a new school modern pop R&B album. So people were honestly kind of surprised to see this here cuz that's something that we'll talk about as we go through. This is like there's a lot of modern pop on here for some
Yeah,
reason. Like within
yeah,
the last 5 years. It's kind of crazy.
yeah.
Number 92 though, Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator. I thought Igor was considered his best album by like the masses.
Yeah, it is. It is, but I mean, again, this is kind of the same situation with like a Flower Boy or not a Rodeo Asherwood situation. Is like, fans might think that um Flower Boy is better.
Then Igor. Is that what we're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, but
Yeah.
this is like a reverse flip situation. Um, but
Because I got
Igor,
Goblin personally.
yeah, well, you're one of the very few, I would
I
say.
want Goblin on this
Yeah,
list, bro.
right. But yeah, that's the thing. They put the less critically acclaimed album on this. It's not that it's not held to a high regard. It definitely is. This is Tyler's kind of like coming of age project, if you will. It's his like really. It's where you see him evolve into the artist that he is now.
Yeah.
From say a Goblin, like one of your favorites, to an Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost. So
Because
I'm not mad at this.
it was Goblin, then Wolf, then Cherry Bomb, then Flower Boy was his first in this new direction, right?
So.
And then Igor, and then Call
Yeah.
Me If You Get Lost.
I believe that's right. Yeah.
His discography is good.
Yeah, it's great, dude. And I mean, obviously, we're more fans of the early stuff just because that's what we grew up on. But it is what it is.
I have
man.
nostalgia with the old OF shit.
I mean, it might be objective. Like his new music is objectively better. We'll just say that.
Yeah, it is. Like Flower Boy's better than Goblin, but I want Goblin on the list. Like if I would have saw Goblin get posted on this list, I would have shit myself.
Dude, I would be happy because I would be like, all right, this is gonna be an interesting list.
They slid, yeah.
To say the least, yeah. Shit. But shout out Tyler, man, making top.
George
100.
Michael, not really familiar. See a lot of the oldie stuff. I mean, Back in Black, AC/DC bangers.
Bro, we're not even a year into this music shit really deep. Like, give us a break, all right? Come on now.
Yeah, and like we know all the songs from these albums, but I've never like really went through and listened to AC/DC albums like front to back, like never. Listening through a discography like I would with a rapper or something.
Never. I haven't even really done that until recently, so like, it just is what it is.
89, Lady Gaga, The Fame Monster. This is a good pop album. I love this album actually. If you go through the track list, like
this is the joint with
like Poker Face and all those.
Yeah.
Like this is like prime Lady Gaga. Like every song on this album is basically a banger. And I thought it was interesting that this is the first time you see a deluxe edition pop up too. Like we're doing deluxes and stuff, which I thought was kind of weird.
That makes sense. Well, it makes sense.
I guess, but
why not?
If you needed the deluxe to make it a top 100 album, is it a top 100 album?
Sure.
I guess. I don't know. I was kind of torn about that.
Everybody has a chance to make a deluxe. I mean, doesn't exclude you. I mean,
I'm curious what songs were on the deluxe and which ones weren't.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not
really
sure.
Make it?
Well, what if Poker Face was on the deluxe or not? Then it would.
Yeah, there's no way. That was like the lead single though.
But think about it, like a Relapse Refill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that's on here.
That completely. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's keep moving.
All right, we got Nina Simone. I Put a Spell on You. Massive Attack, Blue Lines. Yeah. Mary J. Blige, My Life. Shout out Mary J. Blige. Come on the show. Casey Musgraves, Golden Hour. Yep. Doggy Style, Snoop Dogg. Our classic rap album.
Yeah, so like one of the more iconic West Coast albums, my favorite. I mean, it's Snoop Dogg's best piece of work. I think that's just.
I would agree.
I think that's universal thought, but one of my favorite rap songs of all time on it. Murder Was the Case.
That's Snoop's best song.
One of the greatest songs of all time. I'll just stand by that forever. One of the first uses of like the voice moderation, making his voice real deep to sound like the devil. So it's just iconic song in an iconic album. Again, I don't think I've listened to that album front to back, so I'll go back and listen to that. But it's just iconic, so I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I'm glad that made the list. That deserves to be on here. Yeah. We got Patti Smith, Horses. I'm not even really sure who that is. And then, boom, another hip-hop album right off the bat here. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. I mean, a lot of people don't think this is 50 Cent's best album. I disagree. I love this album. A lot of people think his album after this was better. But like,
I mean, it was good, but
this is an amazing album.
I don't think I ever heard that take.
If this was my personal top 100 albums, this is probably top 15.
Yeah, I mean, this is top 5, bro. We got Patiently Waiting with Eminem, Many Men, In the Club. That three track run right there. That's track 3, 4, and 5. Might be no. Oh yes, it
Oh,
is. I thought that was on the next one.
Candy
Yes,
Shop
it
on here
is.
too.
No, Candy Shop's on the next one. That's what it
Okay.
was.
Yeah.
But that 3-track run, 3, 4, 5, patiently waiting, many men in the club,
Imagine hearing that for the first time
unmatchable.
in the
I
early
think it'll
2000s.
be unmatchable forever probably. And this, obviously, one of the most impactful rap albums of all time. I mean, I said this in a tweet the other day. He had like Dollar General workers wearing bulletproof vests and shit. You know what I'm saying? So
The cover is so sick too.
it's I mean, the maybe the most iconic cover
Yeah.
in hip hop. Once when you got it in the CD case, the plastic CD case, and it
So
looked
good.
shattered.
Yeah.
It was so dope. But I mean, yeah, like we said, this got just iconic songs. Patiently waiting, many men in the club, many men, one of the
If you
best
ask
rap
me,
songs of all time.
I was just gonna
And
say, if you ask me what's the best hip hop song ever made, Many Men might be my answer,
this is the
depending on the day you ask me.
second, I would say the second best debut hip hop album of all time behind Illmatic, in my opinion. So let's go.
81, Neil Young. Okay, another hip hop, Eminem, the Marshall Mathers LP. That's on here. I thought that was interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
not really interesting. It deserves to
So
be here, but this is the only time Eminem shows up on the list. He's not again later. This is the Eminem album that is on
this
this
is
list.
where I started to get questionable though, because you
Yeah.
can put Get Rich or Die Trying at 80, and I'm like, okay, well,
We're doing
it's
all
more like
genres,
it's.
you know.
I know we're doing all genres, but even in all genres, it's probably more like top 60, really, if you think about it,
Yeah.
because like it's one of the most influential and impactful albums of all time. Were you gonna say something?
Nope.
Okay, you raise your finger, but so you got that, and then you can kind of play that off like, okay, you can kind of write that one off, but then you see the Marshall Mathers LP come right after it, and you're like, okay, not that these albums are, well, I don't know. I just feel like they're not that close. You know what I'm saying? They're not that far away. They're two of the greatest rap albums of all time, right? Let's say that. But I mean, the Marshall Mathers LP for me is like top 5 hip hop albums ever. You know what I'm saying? Get Rich or Die Trying might be top 15, top 20. In this list might be top 60, top 50. You know what I'm saying? But this is where I started to get questionable about it though, because I'm like, okay, this should definitely be higher, because if this is a top 5 hip hop album, in my opinion, of all time, and hip hop's like one of the biggest genres of all time, then it's getting a little iffy here. This is where it starts to get iffy.
Is this Eminem's best album?
I mean, yeah, people definitely say that, and I probably would say so too. If you go back and look at the track list, it probably is the most iconic. Let me pull it up. I mean, you got shit
I
like.
just think I go Slim Shady LP over this. I do, personally, I think.
I mean, personally, I would say I probably might say the same thing. I might. Dude, I don't know. That's the thing about Eminem for me. There's so many albums that are almost like on the same level. But on
That
this
3 album
album,
run, all 3 of those albums should be here.
I
Slim
mean, on
Shady
this you
LP,
got.
Marshall Mathers LP, and Eminem Show should all
But
be
listen,
on this list.
as we talked about Gritch or Die Trying having all these great songs, we got on here. We got Stan. We got The Way I Am. The Real Slim Shady. We got a Marshall Mathers. And then you go into some personal favorites like a Drug Ballad and Under the Influence. You got a Criminal on here. Like, dude, it's stacked.
It's stacked.
This is like what again made Eminem a superstar. Went from Slim Shady LP kind of putting him on, and then he released a Marshall Mathers LP, made him a superstar. One of my favorite rap albums of all time. It should be higher.
It should be higher.
This
And there
is
should
where
be
it gets
more
whacked.
Eminem. There should be more Eminem.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then this is the thing too, and I know this is one of his most critically acclaimed. It's like this and the Eminem Show. So I'm like, okay, if they're putting this here, it's gonna be tough to make another spot. Make another spot on here. But here we go.
yeah, man, I don't know how I feel about that one. And then you got like Lana Del Rey, Norman fucking Rockwell. That's like a 2015 modern indie pop album. So like that's a newer
Like,
album. There's
dude.
good songs on there. Like I like this album, but like that's not higher than the Marshall
Yeah,
Mathers.
I mean,
LP.
we can. I'll say that for another few albums. I'm not gonna hate on Lana Del Rey. She's dope.
Elton John, this album has. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be
Sure.
on the list.
Why not? Yeah.
Madonna, Like a Prayer. Obviously,
Sure.
that had to be
Why
on
not?
the list. I thought this was interesting though. The Bad Bunny album, like this came out in 2022.
I feel like it's interesting that people are hating on it that probably don't even speak Spanish. I mean, the entire album is probably in Spanish, so
I mean, it
you,
is.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I can't say anything about it. I don't understand the album.
But this is like, I feel like on this thing, we didn't get like world music or international music. Like, this is the only one. Why this one?
Is there not anymore?
Not really, no. That's
Oh,
it,
interesting.
basically.
I mean, Bad Bunny, shout out.
It's just like this album's 2 years old. It's the number
Yeah.
76 best album of
Well,
all time.
yeah, and this is where we're gonna start to go because in my like again, I'm not trying to hate, but like, is this really better than a Marshall Mathers LP?
No,
One of the greatest hip hop albums of all time?
it's not. I tell you that right now.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's not. Missy Elliott, Super
Shout out.
Duper Fly. I'm glad that's on here. That's
Yep.
got. I mean, she was killing it on that album. 9 Inch Nails, The Downward Spiral, Not My Cup of Tea. Steely Dan, Asia, SZA, SOS. I kind of have a problem with this too, and I love SZA, but like this
Again,
shouldn't be here.
this is better than a Great Richard Die Trying or an MMLP. I don't know. It's
It ain't,
great.
bro.
It's amazing. But as we go further into this list, you'll see that, the people that made this list are it's more subjective, we'll say. You know what I'm saying? This list is definitely more subjective. It's more opinionated, this list is for sure. I
I
mean,
love this album, but no, Marshall Mathers LP is better. Like
like my
Astro World
point is
might
if
even be
you
better.
pulled the entire earth, this would not be the results in my opinion. Obviously
No,
not.
that's what they should
So
have done.
right. Just pull the entire earth.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Twitter should send out a thing, and you have
Yeah.
to vote.
Now
And they
this
could
is
have
Apple
done this.
Music, but I mean we could maybe
They
eventually.
could have
That'd be sick.
collabed. Or how about when you open Apple Music one day, you have to pick your top 10 favorite albums of all time or best albums of
But
all time.
that's
And
yeah, that's kind of what this list ends up feeling like is like a mass like my favorite albums list. You know what I'm saying? For like
yeah,
all artists, which is kind of crazy because not everybody has listened to all of these albums front to back and is able to review them in such a mega capacity. So
all
I'm
right.
not gonna hate, but in my opinion, again, MMLP should still be higher.
Kraftwerk, Straight Outta Compton, NWA.
Shout out,
I mean, that deserves to be on here.
of course, one of
70,
the
you know.
probably the well, I don't
You
know. You
can't
got
say
some
most
solo.
iconic rap album every time a rap album comes out. I thought you were going to say that again.
Well, no,
One of the most iconic rap
no,
albums of all
I was
time.
gonna say one of the best West Coast rap albums of all time, but Dr. Dre has some better solo work after NWA split up. So not quite up there, like not top three. It might be top three. I mean, I don't know. It's up there. So I'm not, shout out.
I feel like it's a
Obviously,
fair placement, though.
super influential. Again, it's like one of the biggest West Coast albums of all time. So
Yeah, it's
can't hate on
yeah.
it.
Master of Puppets, Metallica,
I
obviously
like
number
that. Yeah.
69, nice. The Strokes, This Is It. Portishead, Dummy. I'm not even really familiar with them, honestly. The Smiths, The Queen Is Dead. De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising, hip
This
hop
is
album.
Yeah, this is one that I haven't listened to that I want to listen to now that I've seen it on this list. I really just haven't heard much about it. Like, I don't know. So I'm gonna go back and listen to this.
I mean, yeah, but since this list came out, like I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and people seem to be happy that this is on here,
Yeah.
getting the love. So
And I've obviously heard of De La Soul, but like it's not a name that comes up regularly to a point where you're like, okay, I gotta go listen.
yeah, so now we know we
Yep.
gotta review this album. Erica Badu, shout out. Jimi Hendrix, Are You
Should probably be
Experienced?
higher, right?
Which one?
Jimi Hendrix.
I'm surprised it's not higher.
Right.
Tupac, All Eyes on Me at 62. This might be the most iconic West Coast album of all time.
I
Actually,
mean,
though.
yeah. Yeah.
Like this might
I
be
don't know.
number one.
I would put 2001. I think I would take 2001 as the most. I don't know, or the Chronic.
I take
It's one
2001
of
over
those.
the Chronic person.
I mean, I think 2001 is the better album, but if we're talking more iconic, it's probably the Chronic. But I think 2001 is the better album. But
Yeah.
All Eyes on Me, obviously Tupac. What is third album? Fourth?
Yeah.
Third? I think so.
Third, I think.
Double album. Obviously you got Ambitions as a Ride on here. You got. Let me pull up the track list. Ambitions as a Rider. You got Hearts of Men. You got California Love on here.
Of
Holla at
course.
Me. All Eyes on Me, obviously. Yeah, just some really great iconic tracks. Obviously, like you said, one of the most iconic West Coast albums. Again, we're gonna keep saying that because that's what these albums are.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I
I
was gonna say
mean,
it's a top 100 list. They're all iconic albums.
if we talk about like best double albums, this is probably up there for sure. Is it better than like a Life After Death? I don't know. I think I prefer Life After Death. So
I
if
would
we
too,
don't end up seeing
personally.
Life After Death on this list, which spoiler alert, we don't. I don't. I would put Life After Death here personally.
I'm with you. I agree. Sade, classic. This album bangs. I started playing a little bit of it after I saw it on here because I hadn't heard it all the way through, and like I liked what I heard. I didn't make it all the way through, but worth a listen if you haven't heard it. I like the vibes. The Velvet Underground and Nico, Arctic Monkeys, Oasis. Shout out the Brits. D'Angelo. I mean, that guy looks banging on that cover.
Yeah, that is.
That.
I'll just say that's a dope cover for sure.
The
I
Cure,
can see why it's top 100.
Rihanna, Anti.
Okay,
I mean,
I've seen people hating on this, but I'm not gonna hate on Rihanna. So
I don't remember which Rihanna tracks are actually on here, but I'm sure it's full of bangers.
probably.
And
I don't
she's
really
the
know
queen,
either, to be honest.
so she's Rihanna. She gets to be on the list. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
John Coltrane, the Rolling Stones, Guns N' Roses, Prince. Prince is someone you see on here twice. Okay, that's one we didn't mention before. Kate Bush, U2, Beastie Boys, Paul's Boutique, and then we got Drake's Take Care at 47. According to Apple Music, this is Drake's best album because this is the only time he appears on the list. In your opinion, is this Drake's best album? I'll start there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Let's just keep it easy, bro. Hell yeah, fucking right. The motto, headlines, dude. This is my favorite.
Though, yeah.
This is my favorite Drake project. It's what put him on the map. This is like almost. This might be like the 47.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could. That's the thing. It can be lower. It's not better than a Get Rich or Die Trying. It's not better than an MMLP. It's not better than an All Eyes on Me. Probably even. You know what I'm saying?
No. But Drake has to be on here.
Of course. And this is the Drake album I would put on here, but it's just a little too high for me. But, I mean, if we want to talk about the album a little bit, you know, you got Drake coming in, you know, into the game, doing his iconic hook game on the motto, Samato. Hell yeah, fucking right. Obviously, again, an iconic hook. Drake going crazy on Hell yeah, fucking right. And Lil Wayne going crazy. Drake really at his peak rapping, in my opinion, too, at that time in his career. Like, he spits crazy bars on there. And then he really, you know, formulates his hook game there, too. So, my favorite Drake album, so I'm not mad.
It might not be my personal favorite Drake album that I go to the most, but I have, like, a weird answer for that. Like, I think Dark Lane Demo Tapes might be my favorite Drake album. Just, like, song for song. I feel like every song on there is good, but I mean, Take Care has to be on the list.
I mean,
if
dude,
you're gonna pick a Drake album.
I don't know.
Even
it's just nostalgic for me, really.
Yeah,
at
this
the end
has
of the
to
day.
be here. It has to be there.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it. It could have been lower, which is interesting because we like Drake.
And that's the thing, it's nostalgic, but like I said, it's Drake in his peak rapping form, really, in my opinion. So,
but Marshall Mathers LP over Take Care.
oh, dude,
take.
It's not, bro. It's not even. It's not a hot take, dude. Take Care is like
That's
maybe top. Take Care is top third, like maybe top 50 hip hop albums. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not a top 50 album of all time. No hate to Drake. It's just I don't think it is. But all right, shout out Drake.
Well, Marley and the Wailers. Yes, yeah. You might want to take that back. I'll mute
all right. Yeah. Just believe that.
And then we got a Bjork album coming up here. When this album got announced, I saw a video going viral of her beating up a paparazzi on a red carpet. So shout out to her.
What? Okay.
From like years ago. Like
honestly, I don't even know who that is. I'm gonna be honest with you.
She's like a pop-ish star, kind of like a pop star from back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
She was cool. Stevie Wonder, he's on here multiple times. This is the first time we see his name. And as you can tell, like going through, what makes this list interesting and fun to debate and talk about is that it is all genres.
Yeah.
Like you have Stevie Wonder next to Drake, next
Drake's
to
Take Care.
Bjork.
Yeah,
So it's just like a weird list. Like if
yeah,
it
it's
was a
interesting.
whole hip hop list, I wish they would have done it by genre. Like, cause then it would have been really fun for us to really dive into 100 rap albums.
Yeah.
But like, I think this makes it interesting. Like, where does Stevie Wonder's Inner Visions rate
Right.
with Take Care by Drake that
Right,
came
that's
out
true.
40 years
Like
later?
that's a good point. Like how do you even really compare these albums? And that's like one thing that's like obviously this is going to be subjective to a point because a rap fan is going to rank albums higher, from rap artists than they would non-rap artists. It just is what it is. But, it's hard to be objective with these things. So,
That's why I'm cutting Apple a little bit of slack on the
yeah,
list, is
I'm
because
cutting them
we're
some slack,
mixing
but
genres. Because that
there's
makes it
some things that are
impossible.
universally like okay, everybody agrees that this is
Yeah,
better than this. We don't need to play
exactly.
for
They
clicks
still
here.
fucked up, but I'll
Yeah,
give them some slack. Okay, number 43, Talking Heads, Remain in Light. Janet Jackson, Control, classic pop album,
shout out.
obviously. Outcast, Aquemini.
So
I believe that's how it's
Aquemini,
pronounced.
Aquemini.
Aquemini, but
Yeah. So
there you go.
this is. I mean, people think this is Outkast's best album. I haven't listened to this album front to back yet, so I ain't gonna say none. Obviously, Andre Three Stacks, one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah,
Outkast, you know,
I'm glad they're
you can't
getting
be
love,
mad.
at
Yeah,
least.
exactly, exactly. So,
Even if maybe I personally would have picked another one of their albums,
and
like, I'm glad they're on the list.
yeah, and this is the thing about this list too. It's like, okay, now like I really want to go back and listen to these albums because these are albums that I already want to listen to. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much music that now I want to go back and listen to. You know what I'm saying? There's so much, but you know that's
I'm
up there, and
trying,
I'm
but there's
and I'm
also
excited.
so much new music
I'm
to keep
excited.
up with. It's
Well,
like, how
that's
do
the
you.
thing.
Mhm.
That's the thing. We're trying to stay relevant at the same time too. So we'll get through this.
Number 40, Aretha Franklin. Shout out to the GOAT, the greatest voice of all time. Nas Illmatic at 39. Maybe the biggest snub of albums that made it on the list.
Bro.
There's albums that didn't make the list at all that should have, but out of the ones that did make the list, this is too low. Illmatic at 39, bro. Illmatic is a top 5 album of all time. No matter which way you slice it, it's top 5.
Is it not? I mean,
It's top 10. I'll give
it's
you top 10.
it's
You can put this
universe.
at 8 or 9.
Listen, I'll argue why it's top five. It's almost universally acclaimed as the best hip hop album ever to exist. Right? It's
Yeah.
the best debut album by a rapper to ever exist. The album was made by a 17-year-old, released by a 17-year-old.
Yeah, so made by a
It's
16-year-old.
the most iconic rap album ever to exist. One of the more influential,
If
maybe
not the most.
maybe not the most influential, but one of the more influential. And it just hit like I don't know how you could listen to it as a human and not feel like
This is the best album ever made.
this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like Nas is so great at like storytelling and setting the setting. Like giving you the surroundings, his surroundings, and letting you feel like you're in the story while he's there talking about his life in something like a New York State of Mind or a halftime, a represent, a fucking like this album is perfect, bro. 10 tracks, no misses. It ain't
Yeah.
hard to tell. Stop it. Like this is top 5 album of all time.
I would have been okay with 8 or 9, but this is top 5.
And
This is
dude,
ridiculous.
we're ranking all albums of all time, and this is 6 spots from Take Care. No, it's
No.
not, dude.
No.
What are we talking about?
No.
Like,
And you know
bro,
what? There's an album coming up here right now that I'm about to show you that should not be above Illmatic on this list. Maybe
Like,
that's
what are we
controversial
talking
take,
about?
but okay. Number 38, we got Carole King, shout out. And then 37, Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers. This is not better than Illmatic. It's not. It's great and iconic, and it should
Okay.
be on the list, but Illmatic should be higher than
Look,
this, bro.
I would agree. Because Illmatic's the best hip hop album probably to ever exist. There's one that might be there's one that might be favorite over for me, but we'll get to that later. But this album I'm not gonna hate on. Obviously, it's like the best album to ever come up with like a rap group. Wu-Tang Clan doing their thing, putting on for New York, doing their thing. They're like the best rap group to ever exist. Is the best album to come out of the best rap group to ever exist. So I'm not mad at it. I'm cool with it there. But again, I don't think it's personally better than Illmatic. And again, you could argue it's not even better than like a MMLP or Get
It's
Rich or
not.
Die Trying. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not mad at it. There's more albums on here that are more egregious than me.
Yeah.
To
I'm fine
me
with
than
this here, but Illmatic should jump 20 spots then.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Number 36, Beyonce, self-titled. Okay, she's on here twice. This is the first time she pops up, not the last. The Clash, London Calling, lots of bangers on there actually. Public
Shout
Enemy,
out.
It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back.
This is one I want to go back to. Visit.
Radiohead, Kid A. This is the first time Radiohead pops up, not the last. Ready to Die, The Notorious B.I.G. at number 32. So
This is okay. There we go. No, bro. Again, this is too low, bro. Okay.
I agree, personally.
These are the two best hip hop albums to ever exist. Illmatic, Ready to Die are the two best hip hop albums to ever exist. You can argue with the fucking wall, bro. I do not care. Ready to Die, the concept, the most iconic and influential concept album, like the best concept album ever to come out, right? Made by one of the greatest rappers ever. That's name has lived beyond his life for 3 decades at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, what are we
30
talking
years.
about? This is his magnum opus,
Mm-hmm.
and he's lived, this long. This should be higher, bro. What are we talking about, bro? This is my favorite rap album of all time.
So
I'll
where
go ahead
does
and
it
say
go
that.
on the top 100 albums all genres list?
I mean,
where should it be? Where would it be that you wouldn't be upset? Because
if
top
we're talking
20,
like
I'm not
objectively, okay, subjectively for me, this is one. So like objectively, like this has to be like, I mean, I don't know,
mad. Top 20 at least.
right? It has to be.
I mean, it's only at 32. It's not a horrible placement, but it should be higher.
Because I feel like
compared to what's coming up
in the
it's
hip hop
like, what?
space, maybe it's not held to like, you might have the Blueprint over it, or
I don't.
there's or there's a few that could sneak in there, in the community, as a consensus. But for me, it's not close. Ready to Die is the greatest hip hop album of all time, and it's just disrespect, man. Like, go back and listen to it, bro. Every time Biggie spits, he's telling a story throughout the whole thing. Every track is a story. And you think it's like some bullshit ass story? No. It's him on the phone talking to his homie about how he's depressed and he's going to, ending off with how he's depressed and he's going to shoot himself. But before that, he's on, he takes you through his whole life. You know what I'm saying? So you could even listen to it in reverse and it would be great even. So I don't know. It's crazy.
All right, well, we're getting toward the top here, so let's go. Alanis Morissette, shout out. Okay, this one, I have thoughts. Everyone has thoughts on this placement. Billie Eilish, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, at number 30. So my thoughts are, I don't have an issue with this being at 30 if you take about 6 other albums that are behind it and move them in front of it.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I love
this is
I
Billie's
like
debut
Billie Eilish.
album.
Billie
this
Eilish
is her debut album.
She's
this
my
is the
favorite.
best debut album maybe
Sure.
of all time for a pop artist.
Sure. Yeah, you can argue that for sure. I'm not even mad because she's my favorite pop artist maybe ever, bro. Right now for sure. And this album is great. But
This album's
not,
a 10 out of 10 in my opinion.
It is not better than Illmatic, Ready to Die, MMLP.
Exactly.
Or Get Rich or Die Trying. It's just not.
Yeah.
The storytelling, the concepts, the lyricism, the time it took, the passion that went into these projects, I just feel like it's just on a different level than something like, When We All Fall Asleep. But I'm not trying to hate. It sounds like we're being haters, but like,
no, this album though specifically, she does have the passion and the storytelling and the writing
for sure.
in this. Like this album, her last album, Happier Than Ever, does not touch this album. When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go is a perfect 10 out of 10 album.
This is the thing though. Like, I don't know.
But Illmatic is Illmatic.
This is what I'm saying. You listen to Illmatic though, and he's taking you through the stories of him going through the streets of Queens, like living his life. Trying not to get shot on the on the street for doing the wrong thing and try not to do this. And you listen to Biggie's songs and how he's telling a story every time he takes you through about how, some guys are trying to set him up, and they come and end up at his house, and then he ends up shooting him at the end of the song. And it's like a whole complicated story of him waking up at the beginning of the day to killing somebody at the end of the song. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole story every time you listen to it.
I don't think
and
people love storytelling a lot of the time in music.
But that's the thing. They make it in a way that it's consumable. They don't make it in a way that it's hard to understand. Like they'll rap the words in an easy way for people to understand like what's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like I should have some specific lyrics pulled up, but like go back and listen to let me pull up this track list because there's really a lot. I mean, it starts with, the warning. You know what I'm saying? Like I was mentioning, they come into his house and he fucking ends up shooting them. A Juicy, where he, talks about him living the lavish life of, he's got everything you want, the chains, the girls, the drinks, everything. Everyday struggle. The name says for itself. Ends off with his suicidal thoughts about, him calling his friend about how he's depressed and he's going to, I don't know. I just feel like these albums are so intricate. Like they're so put together in such a thoughtful way. It's just, they should be higher on this list.
Well, let's keep going. Tribe Called Quest, The Low End Theory. Shout out to the GOATs, They Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Of course that's on here. I mean, on t-shirts across America.
I was surprised it wasn't higher, to be honest.
Exactly, me too. Led Zeppelin 2. I'm not the biggest Led Zeppelin fan, but a lot of people don't think this is their best album, so there you go. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. Maybe his most critically acclaimed album.
Oh, dude, 100%.
But not the best Kanye album.
No,
College Dropout should be on the list.
It's the most influential Kanye album. It's the most impactful Kanye album. 100%.
But College Dropout is better than MBDDTF. Like, College Dropout, I would put higher on my own.
I don't know, because they're both really good. They're both amazing, but
Kanye should have 3 albums on this top 100 list, to be fair.
Probably 2 at least. Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? Because there's a lot. But, again, while this is one of the most influential hip-hop albums of all time, for sure, changed the landscape, and probably top 3 albums of the 2000s, if not the best. You know what I'm saying? There's a few you could argue in there, but I mean, dude, what are we doing here? It's not better than an Illmatic, dude. It's just not.
If you did this before Kanye was canceled, I think they put this top 10 though.
I don't think so. I don't think that matters.
Would have.
I don't know. I don't think it matters.
People
I honestly
love that
hate
album.
I think that's annoying as take, but all right, let's go.
I mean, dude, they would have put that higher. That's like one of the most critically acclaimed rap albums of all time.
But how would they... No, bro. How would you say that? And then they put Illmatic at 60, bro.
Well, Illmatic should have been top 3 on
exactly, but how are you going to say if he was canceled it would have been higher, bro? Nah, it was higher than Illmatic. How can it get any higher, bro? Stop it. That's a dumbass take.
If Kanye wasn't hated right now, they would have put that higher on the list.
Bad take.
All right, let's go. Dude, they
That's
definitely would have.
Dude. It's a horrible take. Nobody gives a fuck.
You're telling me Apple doesn't give a fuck about politics and
Ebro,
culture?
old man Ebro, gives a fuck about Kanye? No, old man Ebro don't give a fuck about what Kanye says.
I think they do at Apple.
No,
bro.
dude, stop. And then stop. They're gonna put Michael Jackson on this list. You're gonna talk about ethics. Come on, let's move the fuck on.
I mean, yeah, but that's been so long that people
let's
have
move
on. The Kanye shit is.
It does not matter. They put it higher than the best rap albums of all time. It's not even top fucking 5.
I think 3 years ago they put that top.
It's 10. Not even top 5 rap albums.
I agree. Mad? I don't even think it's Kanye's best album. I don't think it's Kanye's
so
best
how are
album
you gonna?
All right. I just think that's what Apple would have done. That's not what I would do. Because people fucking love that album. They're like dick riders about that album. If you look up any top 10, top 100 albums list of all time, it's probably in the top 10.
Okay, well, not this one.
Clearly. But Daft Punk, I'm glad they're on here. They got love. They're so influential. It's crazy. Like,
shut up.
You don't realize it, but they're like so influential just in music in general.
That's
Bruce
true.
Springsteen, Born to Run, shout out. The Beatles, Revolver.
Is that their first appearance? I think so.
It is, but not the last. So they have 2 albums in the top 21. The Beach Boys, Pet Sounds. I'm not really familiar with this album, but I mean, I'm sure it's good. They're kind of like a rip-off Beatles, right? That's a bad... People will be mad about that sentence, but... Dr. Dre, The Chronic at 19. See, I like 2001 better than The Chronic.
Yeah,
personally,
2001, I think objectively is the better album, but this album is more impactful, more influential. It's the start of Dre's solo career. You know what I'm saying? And you got Nothing But a G thing. You got a high powered on here. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, of course. Of course it does. You know what I'm saying?
I just like 2001 is a better album, I think.
But again, it's not better than these albums that I'm going to say every time, but it's just not.
Number 18. Number 18,
okay,
maybe the most controversial album on the list. Taylor Swift's 1989. Taylor's version, deluxe edition.
So you're going to tell me this album is better than Illmatic, it's better than Ready to Die, it's better than MBDTF, it's better than the Beatles, it's better than Marshall Mathers LP, it's better than Get Rich or Die Trying, it's better than Aquemini, it's better than...
See, this is politics, though. They're doing this because they know Swifties will be mad and riot if she's not in the top 20. You tell me Apple doesn't care what people think? That's why this is on here. This shouldn't even be in the top 100, bro.
This is just dumb.
The fact that this is 18 is ridiculous, dude.
Let's just move on.
It's crazy. Right before Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. Make that make sense. Joni Mitchell, Blue. Adele, 21. I'm mad at that. I love Adele and I love this album, but I'm just surprised it's that high. I didn't know people loved it like that.
I kind of had a feeling it would be up there because I knew she was
that high, though? I mean, that album is full of great tracks, so I'm not mad at it. I didn't think people liked it like that. Bob Dylan, Highway 61 Revisited, the only Bob Dylan album on the list, actually, surprisingly. Jay-Z, The Blueprint, at number 13. Yep. Not as good as Illmatic, not as good as Ready to Die, not as good as...
Any other take about
all the other ones, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's Jay-Z's best album. It's my favorite Jay-Z album. You got one of the best diss tracks of all time on it with Takeover. You got Jay-Z really doing crazy hooks with Girls, 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 Song Cry, Renegade, one of the most iconic rap songs of all time. It's a great album. But again...
It should be like 70, though.
It's just not better than Illmatic. It's not better than Ready to Die. It's not, bro.
Yeah, it's not. It's just not. Number 12, OK Computer by Radiohead. If you look up basically any top 100 albums list, this is number 1 on almost all of them. Really? Like, this is the consensus best album of all time, I think, if you actually pulled the earth.
Okay.
I think this would come out number 1. I see it on every list. I think so.
I don't know. That would be interesting. I wish we could pull the earth because I would love to know.
If you go on like Pitchfork and Metacritic and this is probably
realistically, don't you think it would be like, I don't know, where does the majority of the population live in? Like Asia. So what do they listen to majorly over there?
BTS, dog.
So it's BTS is gonna win.
Probably.
So yeah.
But Radiohead close second.
All right.
Fleetwood Mac, Rumors at 11, getting a little bit of country vibes in the list. No Johnny Cash on the list, which I thought was surprising.
That is kind of crazy. I didn't think about that, but yeah, good point.
There's no country on the list, which I'm not mad at. I don't like country.
I mean, Johnny Cash is the only country artist deserving of this list.
Yeah, but he's not here, which I thought was weird. Okay, we're at the top 10 now.
All right.
Beyonce, Lemonade. I don't hate it, but I don't love it, really.
Dude, it's whatever.
I
feel like I'm gonna have the same argument every time.
But get over the Illmatic thing. We get it. That should be number 2.
It's not even Illmatic. It's like MMLP at this point. But that I don't know. It's just it's gonna end up being biased. You know what I'm saying? So let's just go to the ones we like.
Nirvana, Nevermind. I thought they might put at number 1 just to be uncontroversial. But it's top 10.
I mean, yeah, you can't be mad at it.
Yeah. Back to Black, Amy Winehouse. Shout out to a legend. I mean, I think this deserves to be in the top 10.
You think Nevermind is the most iconic album of all time?
Cover, yeah. Most iconic album of all time, I think, is Illmatic, maybe.
You think, okay, you walk up to a person on the street, you say, name an album. What is
Abbey Road.
Right. Like what?
Beatles, Michael Jackson.
And those are the answers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably,
I was
but
just curious what you thought.
Nirvana, for people born after 1980, 1985, Nirvana Nevermind might be it.
For the cover, I mean, definitely the cover. Definitely most
Yeah.
iconic cover. 100%. Without
Illmatic is the
doubt.
most name-dropped album in other music of all time.
Really?
Probably. How many
Oh,
people say Illmatic in their music? How many? Every rapper in the world has name-dropped Illmatic, it seems like.
I
There's
don't
so many
know.
bars related to
Yeah,
that album.
probably. Who knows?
But, it is what it is. But yeah, Amy Winehouse, glad she's here. She's a legend. Good Kid, Mad City at number 7. This is his highest placement. To Pimp a Butterfly, not on the list, which people... I think that was the one that the people were the most upset about online, is that T-Pab is not on this list anywhere. And
Yeah.
other people got 2 spots. If there
Yeah.
was one album per artist, it'd be like, okay, whatever. They picked this as the Kendrick album. But like Beyonce has 2 albums.
Yeah,
Other people have 2
we'll
albums.
talk about some other snubs here after the list was done. But yeah, T-Pab did not make the list. GKMC did. And to be honest, I'm not mad at it. I prefer GKMC. Roast me in the comments. I don't know. Who is that a hot take? Who knows? Bitch
I
don't
think
kill
it
my
is,
vibe.
but
Money trees, poetic justice, mad city, swimming pools, black boy fly, uh, 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 backseat freestyle. Like, dude, it's crazy.
I
Sing
prefer
about me,
this-
I'm dying of thirst. I didn't even name the best song on the album.
I
Fuck.
prefer this over T-Pab too, but they should both be on the top 100.
For sure.
Like,
For
even
sure.
if T-Pab was at 45 and this
For
was
sure.
at 7.
That
I'm
might
like,
be
okay.
the most. That's the most egregious snub of
Yeah.
the whole list, for sure.
It is.
100%. 100%.
Number 6, Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. I mean, this is just full of iconic songs that you've heard 1,000 times since you were born, if you're our age. So,
Sure.
of course, this is on the list. Blonde
This
by Frank
surprised
Ocean
me.
at number 5. I was surprised too. This is not number 5 of all time.
Like, this just came out. How long
probably
ago?
5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
6 years ago. Something.
Not even. I think
I-
2020.
I like this album a lot, and I love Frank Ocean, but I like Channel Orange better than Blonde.
2016. Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah, 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
But it's not number 5, bro. It's number 50, maybe.
Damn, I thought it was like 2019. Okay.
No, this is an older
So
album.
it's been a minute.
It's not number 5 all time, though.
When? Okay, hold on then. When is Channel Orange?
2012? 14?
2012. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Okay.
prime OF days. Earl
Yeah.
had just gotten back
Yeah.
because they did Super Rich Kids on that.
Yeah.
That was, I think, Earl's first song back. From
Super Rich
Samoa
Kids?
or wherever the fuck he was being held
Yeah,
captive
yeah,
for all
yeah,
those
yeah,
years.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
Super, I
I
think
remember
Super
that.
Rich Kids was the first free Earl song.
Was it?
Like,
Was
when
it?
he got back.
Oh, that's dope. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. That was
Super
like
Rich Kids. And wait.
banger. I like Channel Orange better than Blonde. I was surprised this was
Yeah.
this high.
Sure. But, again, it's like a Tyler situation with like a fucking Flower Boy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or Igor. It's like, it's kind of what's rounding him into his career, I feel like.
I mean,
so.
I knew people loved Blonde and it was critically acclaimed, but I was surprised to see it at 5. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
5? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Shout
shout
out
out.
Frank Ocean, I
Yeah,
guess.
top 5.
Prince, Purple Rain, number 4, no surprise there. Number 3, The Beatles, Abbey Road. If I had to, like, I was going through some of the Beatles albums and looking at the actual track list to try to determine what would be my favorite, and I probably would pick Abbey Road over
I don't
Revolver.
even know, like...
Those are my top 2. Revolver and Abbey Road are my personal top 2 as well, just based on, like, hits, like, greatest hits, and so I'm not surprised this is here.
Together.
This might be the most iconic album cover of all time, maybe over Nirvana, Nevermind.
Nah, Nirvana smokes it, but it is definitely up there.
This has been recreated by everyone, though. Like, everyone has this photo.
Yeah, just because you can't throw a baby in a pool.
I could. Yeah, good point. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's Thriller at number 2. I thought
Yeah.
this could be number 1 as well.
I thought it was going to be number 1. Obviously, I mean, what do we have to say about it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's Michael Jackson's Thriller. Come on. It's the best-selling album of all time, I think, physical copies-wise. And
Yeah, it
then
is.
number 1, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Probably the most
Honestly,
the most sampled rap album of all time in future. Like, this is, if you listen to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill and then pick your favorite modern rap album, click a random track, there's probably a sample from this album on there. Like, it's
Yes, sir.
actually crazy.
yes, sir.
I'm not mad at the pick. I'm surprised that they went number 1, and I am mad about it, I'm not mad that it's number one. I'm upset that she has a new album coming out in 2 months, and it feels like propaganda, and I'm
Two
being
months?
scammed. Yeah.
Were you here 2 months?
I mean, they're doing an album rollout for her. I don't know if there's an official
They're
date,
doing an
but
album rollout?
she has an album coming out in the next couple months. Yeah.
Well, the only thing I heard about it is that she like somebody asked her and she was like, yeah. She kind of just like nodded them off, but that would be amazing
Because I'm kind of buying into the conspiracy that they did this and she's gonna do like her
as a
album as like an
rollout.
Apple Music exclusive album or something.
That would be crazy. But again, this is one of them albums. Like, what do you have to say about it? Arguably the greatest album of all time. Not mad at it at all.
It's a perfect
Shout
album.
out, we made it. Hip hop made it. Hip
Number
hop
one,
made it.
baby.
We're number one, baby. What did I tell you? It's the greatest fucking genre in the world.
And
I
shout out
mean,
women on top.
shout out women. I mean,
Shout out
stop it,
black
bro.
women, dog. Black
You
women
got
on top.
lost ones. Forgive them, Father. Everything is everything. When it hurts so. Final hour. X Factor. To
X Factor is
Zion.
probably my favorite song on the album.
Dude, I mean, this album is just a perfect mixture of her flowing on beats and also having the greatest vocal performance to ever be laid on a hip hop album and
Yeah.
to ever, it will never be touched. You know what I'm saying? Lauryn Hill's vocal performance on The Miseducation will never be touched on another hip hop album of all time. And on top of that, she might have done the best rapping by a woman artist ever on this album.
Never been top since.
Never been touched. Not by Nicki, not by Cardi, not by nobody. Not been touched by not nobody.
Not Sexy
So,
Red even.
Not even Sexy Red. So again, I'm not mad at this at all. Iconic album. This album inspired what we know hip hop is now. You know what I'm saying? Like the hooks, the R&B influence into hip hop is so heavy because of Lauryn Hill. And I mean, like you said, the samples are just insane. You got, I mean, the on a Kanye on a All Falls Down, for example,
That's
with
probably
Kanye.
my favorite one.
Or,
Yeah. Nice for What by Drake.
Yes, exactly. You know,
Everyone.
it goes on and on. You know what I'm saying? But those are some of the most iconic songs of all time on some of the most iconic rap albums by the most iconic rappers of all time. And if it wasn't for her, who knows if we would have those songs or those albums. You know what I'm saying? So,
She's
and
the GOAT.
they've come out and said, you know, a lot of the best rappers of all time have come out and said Lauryn Hill was one of my biggest influences, and she is one of the best rappers of all time. And I agree. And I think this arguably is the best album of all time, and I ain't even mad at it. I ain't mad at it at all.
All right, well, give me some album snubs that should have been on the top 100 list that were not there. Just give me a few that you got that should have been
Well,
on
obviously, T-Pab.
the list. Yeah. T-Pap should have been on the list.
I think SSLP, Slim Shady LP should have been 100%. On here. Eminem Show should have been on here.
Yep.
Life After Death should have been on here. Yep. In my opinion, I mean, I guess maybe not, but Lifestyle should have been on here. Poor and Dangerous, but that's more like a personal thing, I guess.
College Dropout should have been on here.
College Dropout,
Carter
Graduation,
3,
I think should have been
Carter
on.
3
This is my thing. The biggest snub of that was the biggest snub of the whole list. There's not one Lil Wayne album. You got me fucked up. The Carter 4 should be on this list 100%.
I mean, they're never going to put the Carter 4 over the Carter 3.
But I know. That's the thing. They would never put the Carter 4 over the Carter 3. I prefer the Carter 4. I think it's a better album. The Carter 3, more influential, for sure. It's more iconic. Lollipop,
I mean, a Millie's on it. Yeah, you know.
And you got Lollipop. Of course, dude. Yeah. You got arguably the greatest rap song ever to exist. Fucking a Millie. So
Nas's "It Was Written" should be on here. Illmatic should be higher.
But bro, the Carter 3 is the big. It might be bigger snub than T-Pab. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I'm not even gonna lie.
I might be with you because they still got a Kendrick album on there. And Question Mark by X should be on here before 1989.
I agree. Question Mark by X could have been on here.
Like, it's the biggest streaming album of all time. He was like 18 years old. That album's perfect. Like, that should be on here over Taylor Swift, bro.
2001 by Dr. Dre should be on here.
You could throw every Eminem album on this list over 1989.
Basically. But is there any more that I'm just, like, blanking on?
I mean, that's basically the ones that I have.
No J. Cole on here. You could have got fucking 2014 on here even.
I wouldn't have been surprised if they put that on there.
Yeah, like...
But hip-hop did get good representation, and I'm not upset
Yeah.
with that. At
No,
least
I'm
they
not mad.
had, like, 20 hip-hop albums on here, and it wasn't all just, like, Michael Jackson and the Prince and the Beatles and Nirvana. Like, we got rap albums. Maybe there's albums that we love and that people that love rap love that weren't on here, but at least hip-hop got the love overall, and a hip-hop album was placed at number 1 by a black female specifically, which is just, like, badass. Like, shout out.
Yeah.
So I give them some slack, but I mean, there's some albums that just should have been on the damn list. There's nothing you can.
I mean,
like,
no Lil Wayne is just blasphemy.
you got to put a Carter on here.
Swimming by Mac Miller could have made it.
I wouldn't have been surprised if that was here either. People love that, critically acclaimed and all that.
Yeah, there's a lot, dude. There's a lot.
Well, there you go. That's Apple Music's top 100 albums of all time. Let us know which albums that you thought were snubbed. What are your favorite albums that weren't here? What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? Let us know. What's your number 1 album? Because I'm sure not everyone agrees with The Miseducation. So let us know your favorite album of all time and show some love.
It's Off the Top Podcast. Got you laughing like you hit the gas pack. Show is crazy like you watching Mad Max. Every other podcast is mad whack.